Hello everybody, this is Coffee with Cartoons, here today on a Scoob of Coffee with my older brother, Charles. Charles, anything to say to the audience?
No.
As per usual. Today we are here talking about the third straight-to-DVD Scooby Doo movie. It is Scooby Doo and the Alien Invaders. Charles, would you like to give a brief summary?
Scooby Doo and the Alien Invaders. Scooby Doo and the gang are going to solve a different, unrelated mystery before they get, diverted through a windstorm of some kind onto this Area 51. Is that the area?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Area 51, I think.
No, I'm saying, is that the right number? Is that the right number? 51?
Yeah, that's the 50. That's
this
where the
Area 51-esque city where there are alien happenings and strange goings-ons, and so they get embroiled in this mystery. They have to solve it, figure out what these alien things that are happening are. And then at the end of the movie, should I end it now?
Yeah, no, tell the whole thing.
So at the end of the movie, they figure out that these people who have been manning these new satellites actually found a mine underneath this city.
And it made them evil. It made them willing to murder.
Yeah, they were just okay government employees. This is actually a libertarian movie, I'm realizing, because they're like, government employees are evil. So they're just these okay government employees working for this satellite agency, basically, they're trying to record aliens, or just like any type of
sound coming in from
space.
Space.
Because they're trying to look for aliens. This is back in when they used to do that.
They still do that.
Yeah. Anyhow, so they find a mine and they become really evil. Like they become so evil that they're willing to kill people to get this mine.
What's in the mine?
Gold, just straight up gold.
Shit tons of gold.
So they keep mining this gold away, and then obviously the gang comes in town. And
figures it out so fast, just like regular ass, easy to solve mystery. Their usual.
Well, because basically what it is, right, is these evil alien. They're not these aliens. They're the aliens that are going on in the town. All these incidents that have happened. People have been abducted. Cows have been getting killed. All that kind of stuff. And they figure out that these people who have been mining this have been dressing up as aliens, riding on these electric scooter things that fly, these hoverboards. And have been scaring people, pretend abducting them, bringing them to a fake room, knocking them out, etc. in order to make them think that this place has aliens, and scare them away from the gold mine so they don't figure out they're mining there, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, Scooby-Doo figures it all out by himself. Right, so he figures it all out. And then, at the end, we get revealed that the two characters that we met throughout the movie were actually aliens the whole time. This girl and her dog. The girl's name is... insert name of girl here in post. Crystal.
Matt.
And the dog's name was insert name of the dog here in post. Amber.
They're types of rocks.
We should have seen it coming. They're obviously a silicon-based life form. Anyway, they're both aliens at the end, so they actually are aliens, just like all the other Scooby-Doo movies where there's real mysteries, not just the fake ones. Anyway, that's about the crux of the movie.
That's the summary. And now we're going to go into talking about what exactly mystery they were solving, who were the suspects, how they do it, and then did it make sense. So first of all, what was the mystery to solve? So basically the gang rolls in, they're trying to get to a different destination. Shaggy and Scooby are driving in the middle of the night. They wake the gang up with their rock and roll music. They're all sleeping in the van, in the back of the van. And then they're like, oh, we got to go into town to get food. Because it's Shaggy and Scooby food, whatever. Basically, they get caught in a windstorm on their way to a different place, and an alien spaceship hovers above them, and it kills their radiator. And so now their van's stuck out in the middle of a desert in the middle of the night. They walk into town. Obviously, now the mystery's set up. There's aliens. They killed our van. Are they real aliens? Aliens are the mystery. It's just aliens ? Is the mystery. What's the mystery to solve? Who are the suspects?
The suspects.
So, the suspects are basically all the people that live in this town. Right?
Basically.
So first we got Dottie.
Dottie, the waitress who hits on Fred.
Yeah.
She's clearly like 50 years old. Fred is at least 13.
I thought she was supposed to be like 30.
30. Sure, but Fred is, 13, 14.
No, they're adults in this one.
Fred is at least 16 or 17 in this one. But clearly... gay, so it's very strange.
This was one of Fred's gayest movies by far. They took it all back from the last movie.
Throw up a picture of a gay guy real quick.
Just throw a picture of Fred, that's it. No, Fred always was the one who was doing, under the breath, snarky comments at people, showed zero interest in Daphne. Kind of, like, didn't understand when Shaggy and Scooby were, like, girl-obsessed.
Didn't get it. He was like, what? Girls?
Girls? And then this other guy shows up. What's his name? Buck? He really liked Buck, I could tell.
Oh, man,
everyone was
Buck
against Buck. And then he was like, nah, I think he was nicer this time.
Just an optimist.
Just an optimist, maybe. And then we have Sergio, which this guy's interesting.
Serge.
Yeah,
oh,
Serge.
there's a short name, yeah.
Yeah. He was a cook at the diner. Oh, yeah, there's a diner in town. It's 24 hours. It's also the only place to eat. We understand that because when they leave she's at breakfast, she says, bye, see you at lunch. So I'm guessing they don't have any other eateries.
There's no competition.
And it's 24 hours. If you had zero competition, you'd open and close whenever the fuck you felt like it.
Right, this is a failure of the free market.
Yeah. Sergio is the cook at that diner. He doesn't have very many lines, but one of his lines was like, he was talking to Dottie, and he's like, I don't trust those kids. And she's like, you're overreacting. And then there's like a close-up of his face squinting at them.
So you're like, oh, that guy's evil. But he's not.
But he's just not.
Then you never see him again after that.
That's his last line. That's the last time we see him. And it was for him to like set up something that never gets punched down. It's just a waste of a part of the movie. And all of our attention was drawn to it too. So it was like, ooh.
It's Chekhov's smoking gun. It's just a false lead.
Yeah.
Honestly. But it does feel like there's just scenes that are cut out. Or like later he was like, oh, I guess they're okay. Or something like that. Like something later that would have made sense with that scene. Feels really uncompleted.
Chekhov's smoking gun was not smoking. It's just hanging there. It never gets used.
No one wielded the gun.
Yeah. So, and then after Sergio, there's Lester. He's an old man who paints landscapes and is obsessed with aliens since they abducted him. He also gives the gangs rides while their van's down and lets them stay at his house. He's kind of kooky, but when it comes down to it, he's just kind of a nice guy.
He's a good painter.
He's
misunderstood for his time.
He's
like
obsessed
many
with aliens,
artists.
you know, because he got abducted, and it was pretty scary. And they did knock him out, you know.
They did knock him out.
You know, that's really unethical, though.
They do have a little shock pen as well. I think it's supposed to work like it does in, you know, Mission Impossible or whatever.
I haven't seen Mission Impossible.
What's the one where they make them lose their memory? Is that Mission Impossible?
I haven't seen that either, but I'm pretty sure it's Men in Black.
Men in Black, that's the one. Men in Black, yeah.
So Lester, pretty much just a good companion character for the gang throughout the movie. Adds character.
We're missing something here. There's actually a bit of a plot hole, not really, but so remember when Lester is describing the experiment on him?
Yeah.
And there's that scene where the camera moves outside the window. He's like, because he's like, oh yeah, they abducted me and they start asking me questions, and then
they plug things in my head.
And then they're like, then what? And then the screen goes outside of the glass screen of the diner, so you can't hear them. And then you see him just describing it, and he's like shoving something, like a sword or like a pole. Throw a picture of a pole real quick. Through something. Makes that kind of a noise.
One fact, guys, my cat just knocked down all my pens and pencils. I'm not cleaning this up. I gotta clean this up right now. As you were saying.
Right. So that happens, and he's awake for all of that because he remembers that.
Yeah.
And then this same thing happens to Scooby and Shaggy later in the mystery, where they get abducted, and when they get abducted, first of all, they get asked questions. They get little like suction cups attached to their heads to, I guess, for brain readings. But they fall asleep. They don't remember the rest of it, and their memories are kind of foggy in total, it sounds like. Secondarily, we later understand that this little abduction center is actually a stage, and they don't really do anything to you. They just do that, and then they send you back to your house the next day to try to scare you. So, what were they doing to Lester, and why?
You think he was just lying?
He was just lying. He was either lying or he misremembered or something like that, because they wouldn't have done anything to him, right? What did they need to do things to him for?
Maybe they just don't like Lester.
That's true. Maybe they stuck a pole up his ass because they didn't like him.
Man, this guy... Man, how should we fuck with this guy? I don't know. Let's do something funny,
that means
childish. Let's stick a fucking pole up.
Lester never talks about this either. He never references it again. But if they really did, like, probe his ass, something like that, they just did that, and they had no reason to because they weren't actually aliens. They did it just to fuck with him. And, like, he never puts it together. He never puts it together at the end. He's never like, oh, wait. I was just sexually assaulted by these three people. Never.
Yeah, so Lester, I also forgot that was alarming, definitely. Yeah, Buck is the surly mechanic who fixes the gang's van. He's like, they want us to suspect him because he's like kind of a jerk and like, you know, short with people. But at the end, they talk to him and he's like, oh, here's your van, radiator busted, that'll be $30. And they're like, what were you doing out in the desert? You look so suspicious. And he was like, and then he showed them his book of pressed flowers. It's his hobby.
He just presses flowers. He's just a soft guy.
Just a soft boy.
Doesn't want to be taken advantage of on the deals for the car. Wants to screw you over on carburetor prices, and he can't do that if you know that he's into flowers.
Yeah.
So he has to act like a dick.
You know, $30. I mean, he fixed it and brought it out to them and went out to the.
No, it was only a temporary fix. Remember, he said that'll hold until you get to town.
Oh.
He just put a Band-Aid on it. That's actually kind of a rip-off. I feel like it was also he paid for gas maybe there too or something. I don't know.
So the South agents, SALF, Charles wrote South, stands for?
Satellites that detect alien life forms.
Satellite alien life forms. Yeah, that checks out. That's all the letters. We're good.
What was it actually stand for?
No, I don't know. I didn't write it down.
Oh, man.
But that's Max, Steve, and Laura. One of these guys, I think it was Steve. He's so evil, right? From the very first second he's on screen.
Steve is big evil.
Like, all of them are actually equally as evil, it turns out. Like, they were all just down with murder for a bunch of money. And, like, tormenting this town. But yeah, I would say they were A, way too evil for this Scooby Doo movie. And B, they just didn't hide the fact well that they were totally the bad guys the whole time. Not even from the audience.
I remember at the beginning, Steve was like, they walked into the South Station, they introduced themselves, and then Steve was already like, might be something evil out there. And he's like, might be something evil in here, or something like that.
Yeah, just hella sketch, creepy, evil right away.
Government employees, they're evil.
Yeah, they also hired these two guys, just two of their friends, to put up a gate on private property that they didn't have permission to do, and then guard it as fake government guard employees.
Military police.
And they had guns! They pulled guns on Shaggy and Scooby.
This is big illegal.
But then later on, when they also could have used their guns and were totally just going to push them off a ledge, they didn't pull them out.
Right.
So it kind of makes you think someone just drew in the guns in that one scene and then, like, didn't communicate that they had guns. Because there was, like, 3 scenes with these guys, and in the middle one they had guns.
They're probably fake guns.
Well, still. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think they're fake guns. There was nothing that told us they were fake.
Look kind of fake.
They were willing to kill him.
I'd kill him.
And then lastly, and most importantly, the real stars of this movie are Amber and Crystal, who are the dog and girl that Shaggy and Scooby meet when they wake up in the desert after they've been abducted by aliens, quote unquote. And she says she's a nature photographer, but she's not. They're actually government employees on a different planet.
Aliens.
An alien planet.
Yep.
And they got radio transmissions from the 60s.
60s, guys.
And they had 60s TV shows. That's why she's all, like, talking 60s lingo like Shaggy does and is dressed like him. But he just thinks, like, the birds of a feather. Like, they both like 60s stuff.
Crystal and Amber, good characters. Great graphics on them. Graphics are really good.
What did they do as characters? I guess she was kind of, like, hot-headed. Like, she was willing to fight those guards. She actually has a lot more personality than I remembered. She's just very friendly.
She's always saying groovy.
She's always saying groovy. Shaggy, she said, this one part, she's like, Shaggy, we need your help for this. And I'm like, you just met him today. I don't understand why you need his help.
I never really realized how anachronistic Shaggy's outfit was. I always thought they were still in the 60s. And they were just like, this whole show takes place in the 60s.
Oh, no.
Because now it makes no sense. Because now it's, oh, this show started in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
They all dressed like this before. But now, it's been 40 years.
Yep.
Or I guess at this time, what, 40 or 30 years?
Well, remember in these first 4 movies, they actually do change outfits. And in the What's New Scooby Doo movie, they also have modern outfits.
But they recognize that
specifically
they originally wore 60s outfits.
Yeah.
In the 60s. And now they've changed. That means that either... It means there's 2 possibilities. That means there's 2 distinct possibilities here. There's the one possibility, which is that it's been 40 years, and everyone else has... No one's aged. But everyone else has changed their outfits to fit with the times, and Scooby or Shaggy just hasn't. Or B,
that's not possible.
In this universe, it's like, oh, we're just the gang in the 90s, and Shaggy just likes the 60s style.
Yeah, because Shaggy's a stoner.
So that would mean that every single generation or decade of Scooby movie has always been like, what if the gang existed in the 90s? They're not actually the same gang from way back when.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought their outfits very... So in these ones, it's always weird that no matter how their outfits change, it's always just Fred, Daphne, and Velma whose outfits actually change, and then Shaggy just stays in his 60s clothes. They're like, people could still wear brown pants and a loose green t-shirt.
They wore that nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like...
actually, people don't really wear green as much nowadays.
But people still, like, acknowledge... Like, every once in a while, they'll acknowledge that Shaggy is out of style. But then later on, they backtrack on this. I liked that they were, like, making the gang current with every, like, era of fashion and, like, you know, just the style of the times, decade. But then in the 2010s movies, they're like, all right, no, let's just go back to the 60s design.
Shit.
Everybody else is modern, and they even bring up that the gang looks like they're from the 60s. And they just move on.
I mean... it's the Mystery Machine, and it looks like it's from the 60s. It has all the designs on it.
They have updated
No, what I'm saying, they could just be a 60s style gang. They could just, like, all like the same style. I mean, that couldn't be how they meet. Do they have an origin story?
Not a really official one. I mean, you could take a pup named Scooby Doo at face value.
Well, let's not. They could have their origin story. They're all met like a 60s club. They're all just down with the 60s.
And Scoob, the movie that came out last year, remember their origin stories, they all met on Halloween.
Okay. That's sort of fucky.
Michael Vsauce here.
You know, Michael's very interesting, but, you know, he never really got a successor. He never trained a successor. He's not really old enough yet to train a successor.
Vsauce?
I wonder if he's like 40 or 50, he'll try to have like a protege.
I think he's already in his 40s.
Really? I always thought he was like mid. I guess mid-late 30s is how I pictured him. See that? You know, he graduated from UChicago.
Is that a good school?
One of the best.
What did he graduate for?
Math.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I've actually ever watched a Vsauce video.
Really?
But people put clips of him everywhere, so I've seen a ton of
I don't
clips.
watch him anymore. I mean, once he sold out and started doing the YouTube premium videos, I was like, this guy sucks.
Wait, you gotta make money.
There's a romantic era of every person's life, and he's past it. He's into the money-making phase. There's the experimental phase where you make the new stuff that's really exciting, and then you enter the perfection phase where you just perfect the old stuff you've been doing. And it's like, specialists can enjoy it, but I can't. It's really typical for mathematicians to do this, where they spend the early parts of their career until they're like 40, just doing amazing, new, hyper-creative stuff. But then by the time they hit 40 or 50, they start to not burn out, but they just start perfecting what they've already done. They work on their old systems, they start proving new things about it, they kind of just start finishing and completing things, as opposed to just opening up these giant, broad, new avenues to do math in.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to die before you figure it out, right?
I'm not sure. It's just you lose that creative oomph at
That's
that
sad.
age.
Well, on to the gang in this movie. So, starting off, Shaggy and Scooby were the real stars as far as the gang is concerned.
I killed him, buddy. He's dead. Sorry. It's so gross. He's like fucking moving, searching around her shit pile for fucking a spider. It's nasty.
What's the main she'll just play in that?
Gross! What the fuck is that any better at all?
I mean...
She needs more litter in that too, wouldn't her?
No, I've talked to Amaya about this. She does not need more litter.
She does.
That's... So look, basically I pour...
She's looking for that spider so hard.
She's been... You killed my friend. Oh no, she's on the bathroom.
Oh, is she? Well, yeah, she has to move all the litter around because you put no fucking litter in there. She's like, okay, I'm like trying to get a plow so I can actually take a shit
Charles,
in here.
I understand that doesn't look like a lot of litter to you, but it's actually because Mom got an extra large litter box for her, and she's a small cat.
Get her more fucking litter.
Dude, this is gonna smell so bad. Her shit smells awful.
You get more litter.
Sorry. Shaggy and Scooby were pretty much off in a rom-com with the groovy girls for the whole movie.
And they give us the best ever song.
Yeah, they give us a great song. It's called Groovy. Charles, would you like to do a sample?
Groovy, a pup named Scooby Doo. That was a recording from YouTube right there.
Yeah.
That was might get struck.
Yeah, might get struck.
She's even got a doggy.
No, it's you gotta do the
Scooby Doo, so
groovy. Scooby Doo, oh groovy. Just us two.
It's a long ass song too.
It's
they worked hard
song.
on this song, and they wanted you to know because this song is like 2 minutes maybe.
The song is 2 minutes at the beginning of the movie, and it's got some fantastic character acting,
is that
animation.
Too short? Is it longer than 2 minutes?
Cute things. I think 2 minutes to interrupt an hour and 10 minute
it is.
movie.
2:28.
Oh yeah, it's 2:28. It's 2.5 minutes long.
It's long.
But it's good. They also have a different song, The Aliens Are Here, which I really like. It's kind of feels like a 90s grunge experimental thing. It's good.
The songs sound as bad as this room smells right now.
I got you. Shit.
Hot shit. Look at her trying to fucking desperately scavenge some fucking like some litter to put over her shit because even she realizes how bad it smells. You need to put more litter in that box, man. It's nuts.
I'm trying to explain this to you, okay?
Put more litter in there. It's like nothing to explain. It's like just disgusting.
She's not suffering, dude.
She
what do you mean?
Look at her. Where is the oh? How I not touch? Look at her. She's literally trying to get all the litter in the box because she realizes how awful it smells. She's like, get it out of here.
All right. So Shaggy and Scooby, very endearing. They're just, trying to get these girls to like them. And, it works. They do Shaggy and Scooby shenanigans. They fight over the last Scooby snack at the beginning of the movie. This movie, notably, unlike the last two movies, didn't start with, at the end of a different mystery.
Start at the beginning of a different mystery.
Yeah.
I wonder what the mystery after this was.
Oh, it'll just be the one we go to. Oh, maybe the next movie is Cyber Chase.
I wonder if that's actually canonical, or if that's how it's supposed to work. Or did they ever say what the mystery after this one was? Come up with a theory for it.
Anyhow, Daphne and Velma, I'm putting them in the same category because I don't feel like they were very different this movie. Daphne, Velma, and Fred were nice and conversational, and they had much better banter and stuff like that. But they were definitely like a unit. They didn't do anything exceptional separately. They kind of came to all the conclusions and saw the clues together.
Velma still found all the clues. Velma was like, look, there's mud on their shoes.
Oh yeah, the classic mud on their shoes.
Yeah, and then she read in a book.
Where would they have found mud? In the desert.
Right. And then she read in a book, what was it that she read in the book?
Man, yeah, she said something crazy. Oh, but the oil you bought isn't the right for hydraulics.
Yeah, they bought
non-hydraulic.
They brought like 2,500 gallons of oil, and she's
in
like,
tiny cans.
She's like, that's not suspicious. But wait a minute, that's not the right kind of oil. That's not the hydraulics oil. Which, first of all, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a mechanic. I'm pretty sure there aren't different types of oil.
Charles,
it's just black liquid that's meant to be very lubricating.
Charles,
a metal.
I wish that there was enough people who were going to listen to this for one of them to hear that and tell you you're wrong.
I think that's right. I think that they're wrong.
Okay, hey, if you know if Charles is wrong, if you know anything about car oil, let me know.
Well, no, it has to actually matter. It can't just be like, oh, the shampoo company thinks. No, listen, they can't be like, oh, the shampoo company thinks you need 8 different types of shampoo every day because they're all slightly different. Not that kind of different. I mean, like, actually functionally different. Like, oh, this oil will not work for hydraulics. Sorry, this black liquid's different than that black liquid. So anyway, Velma's a dumbass. She reads the wrong books. She's a complete idiot. She outed herself here as an idiot. That's all I gotta say. I no longer trust her advice.
And also in this one, I think it's one of the only, they actually, say, canon instances where the gang is all sleeping in this van. We usually see them at a hotel. Sometimes in that one movie, they so desperately didn't want to imply any romantic intention between, any of the characters that they split them up, and put them into different homes. So Shaggy and Fred are in their own home where they live together, and Daphne and Velma are in their own home where they live together. And
another thing, those people in the fucking mine, if they're not trying to be suspicious, why are they buying 30,000 oil cans? They don't need that.
They got the big satellites.
But those do not need 30,000 oil cans at a time.
They don't need that.
Buy 20 a day. Don't go buying 800 at the same time. That's so fucking stupid.
I think my actual problem is that they bought 1,000 tiny cans instead of a barrel.
So stupid.
These are really bad.
They're bad and evil. They're not even good at their job. That was so suspicious.
They went through too much work to not get caught. I don't think they needed to abduct people.
No, they didn't.
They honestly could have replaced abducting people with making the crop circles, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But instead, they built that big studio and they bought a helicopter to put a thing under. Their explanation of how they got away with the mystery is so... Oh.
The Scooby Doo pattern's so obvious. What they do is they're like, what's a bunch of cool, spooky things that would actually happen if there were aliens or ghosts or whatever the actual, titular monster year is, and then they just explain it all later.
Yeah. They just figure it out. They don't need to make it make sense because it's a cartoon. They'll be like, yeah, we actually have hoverboards in the 90s. We can just hover.
Yeah.
You know that thing we can't do right now in 2021? They could do it then.
True.
Like, they just make up technology.
Or that giant spaceship. They're like, yeah, it's just lights.
Yeah, just lights.
They literally did. It was lights. They didn't even do holograph or CGI. That probably didn't even fucking exist. They're just like, yeah.
No,
they're like, it's crazy what you can do with lights. And I'm like, no, we saw that ship from the top view. We saw a giant ship. It's like, no.
Yeah, no, they do that. No, they actually do say holograms.
Oh, do they?
No, later in a different movie. So they do holograms.
Yeah, they definitely just like rationalize everything later.
Yeah, I don't think there's any planning up front of how they're gonna do it. They're not sitting there crunching the numbers trying to figure out how they made a pig look like a donkey.
Jeez, man.
And then the gang as a whole, this movie felt so much better than the last two. They talked a lot more, had more banter. Fred's under the breath comments were good. Girls giggling at Shaggy and Scooby.
Velma always is saying something sarcastic though. Velma had like 3 sarcastic comments this movie. She was always saying something while rolling her eyes. I don't remember anything about Daphne in this movie at all.
Daphne, very unremarkable. She's cute though. Good outfits this movie. They all had desert outfits.
Velma is still cool with Scooby and Shaggy. She gives them the snacks. She says, "Good boy, Scooby. You're so cool." Velma has the witty comments occasionally. Brave, whatever it is. Meanwhile, Daphne does, I believe, nothing.
Daphne really did take a backseat this movie. She didn't do a lot. And
I can't remember anything.
For the last 20 minutes of the movie, they were in that back.
It's so strange because I think they make these movies like an hour and 10, hour and 6. I think if they give them like 10 extra minutes, they would always have enough time to make every character do something at least slightly memorable.
Yeah.
But they just don't.
I mean, 10 extra minutes is a lot of extra work.
It's true. Yeah, I know. That's probably they don't get paid for that either. They're probably like, make it an hour.
All right, an hour. But yeah, definitely, regardless of Daphne not having a lot to offer this movie, I felt like the gang had a lot more substance, a lot more personality, and a lot more chemistry between each other.
I'm gonna go with a 7 out of 10 for this one, the same one that I gave, which is Ghosts, because I feel like, it still has what Zombie Island was missing, with a little more character from each of the characters. This time they took away a little bit from Daphne, and then they added a little bit to Scooby and Shaggy, who I feel like had a far more interesting plot, as well as the 2 new characters. They both had, interesting personalities. Not the dog.
No, the dog was like off-put at first, remember?
Dog was pretty boring.
Yeah, the dog was boring.
The other character was interesting. The alien thing, the classic twist. I didn't feel like any of it was, as far as the plot goes, none of it was too innovative or, special compared to Witch's Ghost or Zombie Island. But yeah, I get the feeling that it's 7 out of 10 because the amount of time and effort they put into Scooby and Shaggy's story to develop their characters, I feel like made up for the fact that the other 3 kind of were the same person for this movie. They all had a little bit of lines or something to say about things, but it was very mute. The settings in this one were also very interesting. I feel like just like Witch's Ghosts, they do spend the last remaining portion of the setting kind of all in the same underground mine, which is very boring. Kind of, it's just all this gray rock color, not very exciting at all. But the rest of it is pretty varied and somewhat interesting. There's a desert, and then there's the cafe scenes, and then there's, the road. Is it interesting? Oh, it was also the spaceship, which they're on for a second. I don't know. It's not so bad. So yeah, I feel like it's just baseline. It's 7 again for me. 7 out of 10.
Yeah. And going off of that last part where you were talking about the setting we were in for the last few minutes, it felt very liquid. Like we don't know what shape that cave was in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like
they changed it whenever it was convenient.
Yeah, so it was basically like, oh yeah, just put rocks behind them. It doesn't matter where they are in relation to everything else. Yeah. And like sometimes we'd be in one shot, like the aliens walked up behind Shaggy and Scooby and they were like breathing down their necks, but when they turn around, they're like 2 feet in front of them.
Yeah, that happened a lot in this movie.
Yeah. You know, I don't remember what my ratings for the last ones are.
I feel like you copied me last time for 7.
I really liked the setting in the desert. I thought all this, like, especially at the night when Shaggy and Scooby were sleeping on the roof of this guy's house, they had a really nice view of the stars and the desert. It was very, you know, the ambiance was there. Story of Shaggy and Scooby, fun, compelling. You're rooting for them the whole time. But again, yeah, the gang, pretty one note. The mystery, nothing innovative. But honestly, you know, I don't usually have a big issue if the mystery isn't innovative.
I'm just saying you want to get higher than a 7. You gotta innovate a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's a 7.
Yeah, I gotta start doing my rating first, so I stop looking like a copycat. I'm also gonna make it a 7.
Are you serious? You're gonna copy me?
Okay, fine.
That's ridiculous.
I'll make it a 6.7.
You're gonna do points now.
Yeah.
What are you, like a Harvard grad? No. You know, no one cares about your points.
7.
People round that up. Okay, now you're copying me again.
All right. 7 graham cracker Scooby snacks out of 10. This has been a Scoob of Coffee with me, Coffee with Cartoons, and my older brother, Charles. Charles, do you have any parting words for the audience?
No.
All right. All right. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think of this movie. And hey, have a great day.